Okay, you guys, can we please stop with the manifestation BS that is everywhere right now? Seriously, just stop. And I know that what I'm talking about right now is going to be about manifestation, but it's from a perspective that I think people really need to hear. Because what people are chasing right now in these videos is so dangerous. And I will get into that in a little bit. But what I want to say really needs to be said because what we hear right now on so many platforms is not clarity about manifestation. It's so much noise. And first off, welcome to Living with August, where we slow down, we look a little deeper, and explore the patterns that shape how we actually create and experience our reality. So, everywhere you look right now, someone is telling you how to manifest what to say, what to think, what to visualize, what to write, what frequency you need to be in. And half of the people who are talking about manifestation have absolutely no idea what they're doing. They are simply chasing views or trying to beat the algorithm, and yet they're building content around something that they themselves are still trying to figure out. And that's a whole nother story alone. People building YouTube channels just to grow and have a presence instead of actually creating content that's individual to them and different each time. All of the channels right now are saying the same thing over and over and over. And that's something that people really don't want to say out loud. Okay, so most people who are talking about manifestation, they are still stuck in the very thing that they are trying to teach you. And this comes back to the thing that I have talked about before about so many unhealed people trying to teach unhealed people. And I want to make something very clear here about manifestation, and you might not like this, but you do not get something just because you want it. You align to things that you are moving towards based on the trajectory that you've created for yourself. And there is a massive difference between those two. The amount of people out there, for example, who want better health, yet they can't let go of the things that are holding them back in the first place. Or there's people who complain about their jobs, but they actually never try to get into something better or to find something different. There are people who want better romantic partnerships, but yet they're still unwilling to see the reason that they're attracting those other situations in the first place. There's basically so many people trying to find the gold at the end of the rainbow when they're not even willing to take the hike to get there. And there is this massive obsession right now with how do I manifest faster? How do I call this person in, this situation in? What method works best? And yet, almost no one is talking about the part that matters the most, which is detachment. And guess what? You cannot fake detachment. You cannot pretend to let something go and still have it in the back of your head constantly. You either reach a place where you genuinely don't care if it happens or not, or you are still gripping it. And if you're gripping it, you're not aligned. And here's where people really, they don't really want to hear this, okay? You cannot fake energy either. This fake it till you make it bullshit is also dangerous. You cannot fake energy. You can pretend that you are someone over and over and over again, but if you're not actually that and taking those steps to become that, the energy you're seeking is not going to find you. You have to be a vibrational match. And a lot of you are trying to manifest things that are not even for you in the first place. You're trying to manifest a life because you saw someone else create it. And so you're trying to manifest money or relationships or status or freedom, not because they're actually a soul calling for you, but because you've basically been shown that those things equal happiness from others instead of remembering that so many of the people who are posting these different contents are still chasing the same thing too. They are part of the same mental game that has you going video to video, trying to change your life instead of stopping and embracing where you are and acknowledging that you created where you are right now in the first place. All of it. So you chase it, you visualize it, you affirm it, and yet nothing happens. And you think, maybe I'm doing something wrong. But the reality is, you're trying to force something that isn't even in alignment with who you are right now. And then on the other side of that, you have people who are trying to manifest things that are not even close to being a match yet for them. And I don't mean that in a condescending way. I mean it in a real, genuine, grounded way. You cannot attract healthy, stable, expansive things from a place that is chaotic, unstable, or disconnected. You don't manifest something and then become the person that who can actually hold it, right? You become the person and then it meets you there. And this is why there are so many people who come into large money and they lose it just as quickly because they were not a match for actually keeping that energy in their lives. And so this is where the Hermetic principles actually come in. And I want to talk about the law of polarity because everything has two poles, everything has a spectrum. And if you are living in one extreme, you are undoubtedly going to experience the other. So if you are obsessing, gripping, or needing something to happen, you are also creating the equal opposite experience of lack. You're feeding the very thing that you're trying to escape. And here's the piece that almost no one is willing to live by. Manifestation happens in the release. Again, the detachment, not the fake release, not the I'll let it go so I can get this, but real, deep, genuine detachment. And that is where true peace comes from. The kind where you reach a point where you are genuinely okay without it, where you see the beauty in your life right now and realize that all you need is you, where you stop needing something out of basically needing change in order to for you to feel whole. Even if life still feels hard sometimes or even if things aren't perfect, that's when things shift. And even then, not everything that you think you want, and I'm going to say the word again, think that you want, is going to come to fruition because some things just are not meant for you. And some things require you to actually move, to take action, to build, to risk, to try and fail and try again. You don't sit back and manifest a life. You have to be a participant in it. Life is a dance with the universe. You take a step and it takes a step, and the dance continues. And there is the other side of it too, where there are people who are talking about how they manifested what they manifested, but they did not just sit there and think about it. They became a different person. They shifted how they moved, how they showed up, what they tolerated, what they pursued, how they spoke, how they acted, and how they viewed the external world by changing their internal world. They literally became the version of themselves that naturally aligned with that reality. So, no, you don't just get something because you want it, and you don't just speak it into existence. You don't just visualize it into your life. You have to align it, you move, you become. And sometimes when you actually detach, you let go of the very thing that you thought you wanted because you realize that it was never really yours to begin with. So yeah, I'm I'm really over this manifestation fad. Not because manifestation isn't real, but because it's been completely stripped of a lot of truth. And it's just been turned into something that people can package and sell and rinse and repeat without ever actually living it. If you want something in your life, first off, be honest about why you want it. That's a big ticket right there. Be willing to become the version of yourself who could actually hold that and be willing to let it go completely and willing to accept that not everything you want is actually meant for you. The truth is, all of the talk about manifestation can really be extremely dangerous for a lot of people because unfortunately, a lot of people live in a victim mindset and they immediately think that they must not be doing something right when things don't happen. And then they can spiral from that. And I was one of those people a very long time ago. I had a lot of difficult things to navigate, and the amount of work that I did on myself is way more than 99% of the population will ever have to do. And I couldn't seem to bring in better things into my life no matter what I tried. And it honestly made me question being here. But there were certain moments in my life that reminded me of where I was still holding on from onto so much pain and I wasn't living from my heart. And there was a time when I was homeless and I wasn't sure if I would have the money I needed to eat the next day. And I had to fall into a trust and let it go instead of gripping and crying to try to figure it out. And I was always okay. Even though that obviously doesn't sound ideal, when you get comfortable having very little, you realize just how beautiful life can be and how so much of what we think we want is just filling more and more voids. No matter how many times I found myself in debt, I thought, wow, how absolutely beautiful is it that I had this option available to me at that time I needed it? And you know what? It didn't matter to me if I had to miss payments or found myself unable to pay things off. I just accepted it and allowed it to build and accrue and knew that I would take care of it whenever I was able to. I didn't crumble under the pressure. And sure enough, that freed up so much more energy. And there was a time around the same time that I was sleeping on the office floor in a co working center and trying to finish up a college program that I had been in, and my computer crashed. And I needed it in order to do my projects. But at that exact moment, I was extremely busy. And I just remember saying, okay, I need a new computer. And that was it. I left it at that. And I went back to my busy day and I completely forgot about it. And literally the next day, a guy came into the co working center and handed me two laptop computers. He had no idea that mine had actually just broke, and he just felt the need to give them to me. And he wasn't sure if they worked or if they needed to be fixed. But it turns out that one of them was brand new and just needed a new power cable, which my old one happened to fit with. And there were so many other times, right, that I wanted certain people to come back into my life. And when I finally sorted through the situation and realized that I didn't actually want them to come back in, they reached out. And there was a time that I knew that I needed a new car, and I had no idea how that was going to happen, but I didn't think about it because it wasn't an immediate need. And sure enough, my old car was totaled in a way that I was completely safe, and the payout got me a new car. So, anytime I ever tried to push or focus on my desires, they honestly felt even further away from me. And my God, I am so thankful that I didn't actually receive so many of the things that I thought I wanted, because more often than not, something better always came in. And other times, I would not have been the person who could have held specific connections or situations at the time if they had come in at that certain point. So, if everything were to happen all at once for you, what would be the purpose of continuing this life? Do you really want to peak that early on? Instead of enjoying the ride, learning the lessons, exploring what you've already created, and actually getting everything out of it that it has to offer, wouldn't you want to say that you took the ride and gave it all you got? That you saw a situation all the way through and to look at it and see what it taught you about yourself and what you actually genuinely want from life? Every single person and situation either brings us closer to ourselves or further away from it. And I am at a place in my life right now where I genuinely don't want anything specific. I just don't. Every time I lose something close to me, and in this case, it's my dog Lily, it always brings me a step closer to remembering that this is all temporary, anyways. And the only thing that matters to me is how I show up in this life. And if I am doing great things that feel good to me or drain me, I don't need to be doing some big fancy job. I don't need to be famous. I don't need a shit ton of money. I just need to know that I am a version of myself that feels good to me. That's all. Just live your life and be in the moment. Look around at what you have and find genuine gratitude in it and be willing to let go of things that do not feel good to you. How do you expect to welcome in new energy if you're still clinging to things and people that are no longer for you? So, the bottom line, no, chances are you are not going to manifest the things that you want if you are not actively becoming a better version of yourself to match that, right? And no, even if you do all the work, you still may not get what you think that you want, but you will absolutely find yourself living a more fulfilling life and things will look better. It just may not be the exact way that you think it's supposed to. The real prize in growing and becoming better is not to attract more. It's to be more, to be better than you were, to know that you are genuinely enough just as you are. And you are in this moment for a reason. So trust it and embrace it and be in it. We don't constantly need to be chasing. We just need to be and to to accept and to just suck out all of the lessons that we can from each situation. That is the key. It's not to manifest more, it's to become a better version of who you are. I'll talk to you in the next one.